San Francisco may become America's first UNESCO World Heritage City. San Francisco Mayor London Breed unveiled her roadmap to downtown's future, which lays out strategies and initiatives in response to current economic challenges and sets a new vision for the role of downtown in San Francisco's economy. The mayor's downtown plan aims to reinvigorate the city and reposition San Francisco as the Bay Area's economic hub and a global anchor for commerce. When a city is designated a World Heritage Site, it rises above the category of a local or national landmark. It means it's something important to all of humanity. The idea of San Francisco as a World Heritage Site has just moved one step closer to realization. Key stakeholders, including Rich Hillis, San Francisco Planning Director, and Diane Matsuda, President of the Historic Preservation Commission, have agreed to launch a task force to pursue the nomination. Karalyn Monteil, the former director of the nonprofit San Francisco Heritage, said we should also highlight the LGBTQ+ history and culture of San Francisco. By doing so, it would be the only World Heritage Site in the world with an LGBTQ+ theme. The World Heritage Committee has already been carrying out an analysis of where there are gaps on its list, which could end up giving San Francisco a natural advantage. You know, I was doing a little research on this. I found it a little fascinating. So UNESCO, I'm like, what does that even mean, right? It means the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And when I looked up these sites and what it means, they're all over the world. And there are countries like Afghanistan and that has World Heritage Sites because it's really about the history of humanity and pretty fascinating. In America, most of the World Heritage Sites are national parks. They're things that, you know, have been around for a long, long time. I found it really interesting for San Francisco that they would choose a community of human beings as part of the thing that sets them apart. And I really think it's fantastic, especially on the back of our last conversation, right, about Turkey, that no, that's not really the way this thing goes. That's not really the way this looks like in today's time, and it's not the way it's going to look historically. Historically, we need to give the LGBT community its rightful place out in front. It is our role, at least that's the way I was raised in the LGBTQ community. That's what we do as LGBTQ people in every civilization, is we help move society forward. And so we absolutely should be out in front in San Francisco. And I hope that they win.
Yeah.
And San Francisco is rich in gay history, LGBTQ plus history. Rich. You know, and Mecca it was when I was coming up, you know.
It's one of those things that it sort of took root in this. San Francisco's always been an awesome city, even before it was founded. It was just awesome. But it's one of those cities that gay culture has really become embedded in, and they're sort of a model for how cities who want to put a spotlight on their LGBTQ plus population can be inclusive. So so this just sort of speaks to the expertise of your field. What role does real estate and real estate agents play in helping set and keep a vibe for a community? Because there's a lot of consternation in Wilton Manors right now about building a medium rise on the drive, and that Wilton could lose the identity it's carved out for itself over the past 35 plus years. What can we do as a community, and how can we do it from a professionals? Because real estate's really where it all begins.
It is, but there are so many rules surrounding this profession against steering and things like that, which we needed in this country, that we can't steer, and we can only follow what the community does. So it's very important for the members of every community here, Wilton Manors, San Francisco, New York, to get out and be heard and attend those commission meetings. They're fabulous, by the way. I think people think they're boring, but I think they're fabulous.
If you see the beginning of this story, though, this is a business that San Francisco needs. I mean, San Francisco is on the verge. There's an article there in the midst of this doom loop that they're calling it, which is the empty office buildings, which are leading to less people in the city core, which are the BART is potentially on the verge of collapse in 3 years. It's 40% of the ridership since before COVID. And so the LGBTQ community could save San Francisco, again, making it San Francisco needs to transform from a center of business. The technology industry is probably not going back to an office, at least on any kind of consistent basis. So they need to transform the city into tourism as being a major component of the city, which of course it always was before, but the technology industry was driving real estate prices and commercial real estate and all those other things. So this is not just let's honor our community, which is great, but listen, let's also use our community to say, well, guess what? We bring a lot of spending power, and we want LGBTQ people to come to this city to learn about their history. So it's a great story.
One of my
they can make it work.
favorite cities here in the United States. I've lived in almost all of the great cities you'd want to live in, New York and then San Francisco for 3.5 years. And I will say this, I hear that doom loop because on my way out of San Francisco, I was already seeing it happening, and that was before COVID. And, one of the most vibrant, it's culturally just so rich in arts and entertainment and food and culture and nature and I mean it's one of the most progressive cities I've ever been in, the most European experience here in the United States, and I had to leave because it did get too expensive, and I was away from my family. So why would I stay in San Francisco and be away from my family and pay New York prices when I could just come home, which was a little bit cheaper here in South Florida, right? But one of the things that I recognize is we have always done it in every little neighborhood I've ever lived in. It started with our LGBTQ plus community coming in and seeing the diamond in the rough and investing love and nurturing and holding it. And then, of course, we get moved out of our communities because after we beautify it and make it something fabulous. But what I think that you're so on point right now, Jeff, with this, if our LGBT plus community from around the world can see this bid for San Francisco, and we all go there and invest in reviving this city, then that city that is rich in our history already becomes our town. And thank you, Mayor London, for seeing and having the vision to bring this city to the forefront. So.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.